Listen carefully, because this is the part nobody tells you until it's too late. In a blackout, collapse, or grid-down night, you don't get found because you make noise on purpose. You get found because your body, your habits, and your assumptions betray you. Darkness doesn't hide you the way movies promise. It sharpens contrast, it punishes carelessness. And it turns tiny mistakes into glowing arrows pointing straight at your location. If you think you're safe just because you turned the lights off, you're already behind. Here's the first mistake that exposes people almost immediately. Artificial light discipline failure. You think a phone screen is harmless. You think a quick flashlight check won't matter. But in low light conditions, the human eye adapts fast, especially eyes that have been in darkness for hours. A single white LED flash can be visible from hundreds of meters away, especially if it reflects off walls, windows, or dust in the air. Military field manuals emphasize red or dimmed light, not because it's tactical theater, but because white light instantly destroys your night adaptation and broadcasts your position. Worse, once you turn it off, your own vision is blind for minutes, while anyone watching you just learned exactly where you are. This isn't theory, it's optics and human biology colliding at the worst possible time. The second mistake is sound leakage, and it's more dangerous than people realize because it feels normal. Talking at night carries farther. Footsteps echo differently. Even fabric brushing against fabric becomes directional in still air. At night, temperature drops create sound channels where noise bends and travels instead of dissipating. That means a whispered conversation near a wall, a metallic click from a tool, or even a cough can move far beyond what your instincts expect. Your brain is calibrated for daylight noise environments. At night, especially in blackout conditions, silence becomes a magnifier. Predators, human or otherwise, don't need loud signals. They need patterns. Repeated sounds are patterns. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. The third mistake is heat visibility, and this one surprises people because they don't think heat can be seen. It can. Not with your naked eye, but that doesn't matter anymore. Thermal optics are no longer rare, and even without them, heat affects condensation, air shimmer, and contrast against cooler backgrounds. Body pressed against a wall warms it. A fire, even a small one, creates a temperature signature that alters airflow. Warm breath in cold air becomes visible vapor. Soldiers are trained to manage heat, not just for comfort, but for concealment, because heat creates clues. When you huddle, sleep close together, or cook without considering thermal spread, you're leaving a trail that technology or trained observation can follow. The fourth mistake is silhouette exposure. This is where Hollywood really messes people up. Standing in a doorway, a window, or on a ridgeline feels harmless because it's dark. But darkness behind you and faint ambient light in front of you creates a perfect cutout of your body. Your brain says, I can't see them, or they can't see me. Reality says the opposite. The human eye is exceptional at detecting edges in movement. A single step across a lighter background is enough. That's why professionals move low, break outlines, and avoid transitions between light zones. Most people die metaphorically, or literally, at thresholds. Doors, corners, windows. That's where silhouettes are born. The fifth mistake is routine behavior, and this one kills slowly. Humans crave patterns when stressed. You check the same corner. You step outside at the same time. You adjust your position the same way each night. Patterns are comforting to you, and incredibly useful to anyone watching. Predators don't rush, they observe. When collapse stretches into days or weeks, routines become maps. Survival science calls this predictability bias. You feel safer doing what worked yesterday. But yesterday's survival becomes today's exposure. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. The sixth mistake is smell and waste mismanagement, and it's one of the least talked about exposures because it feels primitive. Food smells travel farther at night. Smoke clings lower to the ground. Human waste, trash, and even sweat create scent trails. Dogs, wildlife, and desperate people follow smells instinctively. In survival training, waste discipline is treated with the same seriousness as noise discipline because both attract attention. You can be silent and invisible and still get found because you cooked the wrong thing at the wrong time or dumped waste too close to where you sleep. Biology doesn't care about your intentions. Here's the part that connects all 6 mistakes into one brutal truth. Exposure compounds. One light flash draws attention. One sound confirms presence. One pattern reveals timing. One silhouette confirms shape. One scent confirms reward. By the time you realize something is wrong, the decision has already been made somewhere else. That's why survival isn't about heroics. It's about subtraction. Removing signals. Removing habits. Removing comfort. People imagine collapse as chaos, but night survival is about control. Control of your senses, your outputs, and your assumptions. Darkness isn't your ally. It's a test environment that strips away excuses. The people who last aren't braver. They're quieter, duller, and harder to notice. They understand that being unseen isn't about hiding better, it's about leaking less. If this made you uncomfortable, that's good. Comfort is expensive at night, and the cost is visibility. And here's the part most people never mentally cross, even after they understand all of this. Night exposure isn't a single mistake, it's a system failure. You don't get compromised because you slipped once. You get compromised because fatigue slowly erodes discipline. The longer darkness lasts, the more your brain starts bargaining. Just this once. Just a second of light. Just a quick step outside. And that bargaining voice sounds reasonable because your nervous system is exhausted. Sleep deprivation plays a vicious role here. When humans are tired, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for restraint and long-term thinking, loses authority. Your survival decisions shift from deliberate to impulsive. That's when people start taking shortcuts at night. They move faster than they should. They stop listening as carefully. They miss subtle changes in sound or air movement. In survival research, exhaustion consistently correlates with exposure errors, not because people don't know better, but because their biology overrides caution. Darkness plus fatigue is not additive, it's multiplicative. Another rarely discussed exposure comes from movement timing. Many people assume moving at night is always safer. It isn't. Night amplifies contrast, but it also amplifies attention. When most of the environment is still, movement becomes the loudest signal of all. A single figure crossing an open space at night can be easier to track than multiple figures moving during daylight chaos. That's why trained operators don't move continuously. They move in bursts, then freeze. Stillness breaks detection loops. Constant motion feeds them. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Then, there's the false security of darkness indoors. People believe walls protect them from exposure. They don't, at least not fully. Light leakage through cracks, ventilation noise, vibrations transmitted through floors, even the rhythmic sound of breathing in a quiet building can be detected from outside under the right conditions. Urban collapse environments turn buildings into sound amplifiers. Hollow spaces resonate, stairwells echo. Pipes carry noise vertically. You may feel hidden inside, but you're broadcasting microsignals into a listening world. Psychologically, night does something else dangerous. It compresses your sense of distance. Sounds feel closer. Threats feel imminent. That pushes people toward defensive behaviors that ironically expose them, like pacing, checking windows repeatedly, or adjusting gear too often. These actions create movement, sound, and routine. The irony is brutal. Fear of being found makes you easier to find. The people who survive longest learn to tolerate uncertainty without reacting to it. There's also a mistake that feels responsible but isn't: over-preparing visibly. Setting up tripwires, obstacles, or improvised alarms without concealment can backfire. Anything you install reflects light differently, disrupts natural patterns, or creates unnatural lines. To a trained observer, that screams occupied. In survival science, concealment always beats fortification when detection is the primary threat. A strong position that's seen is weaker than a fragile one that isn't. Let's talk about night curiosity, because this one gets people killed quietly. Humans are drawn to unexplained stimuli. A noise in the distance, a flicker of light, a shadow that doesn't make sense. The instinct is to look, listen harder, or move closer. But curiosity at night is exposure bait. Predators, again, human or otherwise, understand this. Strange sounds and intermittent signals trigger investigation. The safest response to ambiguity at night is not engagement, it's patience. Information comes to those who wait longer than others are comfortable waiting. Over time, the night starts training you whether you want it to or not. You either adapt by becoming more disciplined, more restrained, more boring, or you get selected against. Survival isn't dramatic. It's repetitive self-denial. It's choosing not to act when every nerve in your body wants to do something. And here's the quiet truth beneath everything you've heard so far. Most exposure mistakes aren't technical, they're emotional. Light, sound, movement, heat, smell, those are just outputs. The real source is stress. Stress leaks through behavior. Calm seals it. That's why experienced survivors look almost detached. They aren't fearless, they're regulated. Their heart rate stays low, their actions stay minimal. Their nights pass without incident, not because nothing happened, but because nothing noticed them. So if you take anything from this, let it be this mental shift. At night, survival is subtraction, not addition. You don't win by doing more. You win by emitting less. Less light, less sound, less movement, less routine, less ego. Darkness doesn't forgive effort, it rewards restraint. If you want, say the word, and we can go deeper into how to design a night routine that minimizes exposure over weeks, not hours, because that's where most people fail without ever realizing why.